Everyone. Welcome back to the third part of rotational dynamics. Where in this third part of rotational dynamics, we are going to actually uh, consider how much is the maximum speed of a vehicle on an unbanked curved road. So if you say a plain curved road, circular road you are having, and a vehicle is moving along the curved road on a horizontal road, and only necessary frictional force will be providing the necessary centripetal force. In that case, how much is the maximum speed with which a vehicle can travel on such a road? Or even you see the example of a coin rotating on a disc. If you have a disc rotating and on that I place a coin, and the coin, with what velocity can coin just rotate so that it doesn't just slip off? So we are showing in this diagram that you have got a horizontal track of some radius r on which the vehicle is moving. Let's say the mass of vehicle is m. So we are writing the description. Consider a vehicle of mass m is moving with velocity v on a plain curved road of radius r, and as I said, only friction is going to be responsible for providing necessary centripetal force. Let's say mu be the coefficient of static friction. Whereas what forces will be acting on such a particular vehicle? Let's see, first one is that weight mg always will be acting in the downward direction, and because the road is level, normal reaction will be acting in the normally upward direction. So W is equal to mg is the weight that will act downward, and normal reaction N is equal to mg, it will be acting in the upward direction. So you have weight acting down, normal reaction acting. So if the vehicle is going to take turn to the left hand side, in that case you will find that there will be, you see, a frictional force that is going to be there. It will provide the necessary centripetal force towards your inside part, towards the radius, and that force of friction is given by mu times of the normal reaction. So frictional force is given by mu times of this normal reaction, which is equal to mg. So you have Fs is equal to mu times of mg is the necessary frictional force that will provide the necessary centripetal force. So I find that Fcp is equal to mu times of mg, and then I understand that you get it as mv squared by r is equal to mu mg. If I solve this equation, I'll find that the velocity v turns out to be equal to root of mu rg. In this equation, what prominently do I find is that the mass of the vehicle is not seen, which means that the maximum speed with which a vehicle can travel along a curved and banked road is not dependent on the mass of the vehicle. Each and every vehicle can travel with the same speed. If you are placing a coin on a rotating disc, the mass of the coin even is not important. And what it does depend on is the coefficient of friction. It is also dependent on the radius of the circular path, and of course on the acceleration due to gravity. But we will consider at a certain place on the earth, the value of acceleration due to gravity will remain constant. So it's basically going to be that v is directly proportional to square root of mu, and it is directly proportional to square root of radius of curvature. If you put that same condition, v is equal to r omega, or if you try to write that centripetal force in terms of m omega squared r, you will on the whole find that you can also have an equation for omega, and that omega is seen to be equal to root of mu g upon r. Once again, the angular velocity with which the vehicle can travel is also independent of the mass of vehicle. That's the equation number 3. So these are the implications of that. Now what I find from equation 2 and equation 3 is that the mass of the vehicle is not going to decide the velocity v or even the value of omega, but further it depends on your mu. So if I now talk about what is the need of banking of roads, if you see that, remember the earlier equation, I have got v is equal to mu rg in case of friction, uh, horizontal banked road on which friction will provide the necessary centripetal force. I find v is equal of mu rg. Here the maximum speed depends on mu, which will change considerably due to even you see rainy seasons value of mu will drastically reduce. If you have oil spilled on road, it will drastically reduce the value of mu, and that is why being you see dependent on mu is highly unreliable, and that is why we need to make our turning of vehicles safer, and we then need to bank our roads. So in order to make the turning safer, the outer edge of the road we will be elevating with respect to, so if the vehicle is going to take turn to the left hand side, we have to elevate the outer edge and the vehicle will take turn like this. So outer edge of the road is elevated with respect to inner edge, and this particular thing is called a banking of roads. Now what is the angle made by the tilt road with respect to horizontal? If this is your banked road, this is horizontal level, this angle is called as angle of banking. Now what we will try to do is we'll try to find what is the maximum speed of a vehicle on a curved and banked road where I do not take into consideration friction, because I'll consider friction as well as banking both after some time. So we'll consider a vehicle of mass m once again moving with some velocity v on a curved and banked road, and let's say theta be the angle of banking. Uh, if you see this diagram now, which is at the center, I find the vehicle is taking turn to the left hand side on the banked road, on which the forces acting once again, number one is weight mg acting in the downward direction. Normal reaction n in this case, because your vehicle's road is like this, the normal reaction will not be like this. It's going to be at normal direction. N is going to be perpendicular to the road. I can now resolve this vector n into two parts. One is n cos theta, the other is n sin theta, out of which n cos theta is going to be exactly in the upward direction, and n sin theta is going to act towards the center of the circle. So n cos theta will be balancing your weight mg, which is going to act downward, whereas n sin theta will provide the necessary centripetal force. If you see even in this, it is telling you the same thing. N cos theta balances weight, so you have n cos theta is equal to mg, that's your equation number 2. N sin theta is equal to, it's providing centripetal force mv squared by r, so it's equation number 1. Now if I take ratio of these two equations, I find that tan theta will be equal to v squared by rg. You see, that's a very important equation here, that tan theta is equal to v squared by rg. That is an extremely important equation for all of us to remember. This equation will give you the angle of banking of a curved banked road, in which we do not take into consideration at all. If I solve that equation, you get v is equal to root of rg tan theta, which is highlighted equation number 3 over there. And of course that tan theta equation, if you try to you see find theta, theta is equal to tan inverse of v squared by rg. In both equations 3 and equation number 4, if you try to see, the term of mass of vehicle is not present, which means that the maximum speed with which a vehicle can travel on a curved banked road is independent of the mass of the vehicle. Whatever is the speed with which a smaller vehicle can travel on a curved banked road, the same is going to be the speed for a heavy vehicle as well. But it depends on what is the radius of curvature, it depends on what is the acceleration due to gravity, and it depends on what is the angle of banking theta. More the angle of banking, more can be the turning safer, but of course it should not exceed beyond certain limits so that the vehicles actually start skidding inside. It shouldn't be that much. Because of course in this case we have not taken into consideration friction at all. So this is what we have talked about. Now we come to a very important derivation in which we are considering the maximum speed of a vehicle on a curved and banked road with friction. Of course, once again we have a similar kind of a diagram as shown earlier. You have got a vehicle of mass m moving on a curved and banked road with velocity v. It's traveling, the radius of curvature of the vehicle is equal to r, and of course the forces acting, first one is mg acting downward, normal reaction n acting upward. That n can be resolved into its two components, n cos theta here in the upward direction, n sine theta is going to point inward, that is towards the centripetal force. Whereas because we are considering mu as the coefficient of friction here in this case, there are some more additional forces that are going to be there. As the vehicle starts moving faster, in order that the vehicle should not skid outside, the frictional force will try to take it in, whereas the frictional force will be trying to prevent the relative motion. So if the vehicle is trying to take turn, move outside, the frictional force is going to act inside. That is shown by mu times of normal reaction. It's going to act here. That mu n can be resolved into two components. If you see in the diagram, one is mu n cos theta, which will be towards the centripetal force, and the other is mu n sin theta. It will be towards adding more to the weight, so that is towards mg downward. Now if I have this diagram, seems to be an extremely important thing while you see doing this type of a derivation. This diagram will help you. If you don't know this diagram, of course you will not be able to write anything in this derivation, or you will not be actually able to understand anything. So here once again, as explained, all these are the weights and the forces acting. Here in this case, once I find this, you see mg plus this mu n cos theta, that will be equal to n cos theta. Mu n sin theta will be equal to n cos theta, whereas this n sin theta plus mu n cos theta, this and this, that will overall become your mv squared by r. So I find that mv squared by r is equal to n sin theta plus mu n cos theta, and the other is that mg plus mu n sin theta, that will be equal to n cos theta. So overall I find that mg is then equal to, you can find that equation number 2 there. And once you have this equation 1 and 2 and try to take the ratio, I'll find that n on the right hand side is common in both cases, and then I find that therefore equation 1 divided by equation 2 will give you v squared upon rg is equal to sin theta plus mu cos theta divided by cos theta minus mu sin theta, and then you get that equation number 3, that v is equal to, it is root of rg, you see, divided root of rg into sin theta plus mu cos theta upon cos theta minus mu sin theta. Of course you can keep this equation in terms of either sin and cos, or even you can consider this in the form of tan theta. You can divide that terms inside the bracket, both numerator and denominator, by cos theta, and you will get it as v is equal to root of rg into bracket tan theta plus mu upon 1 minus mu tan theta. This is going to be the maximum speed with which a vehicle can travel along a curved and banked road with friction. So once again, in this equation as well, I understand that there is no term of mass of vehicle which tells you that the maximum speed of a vehicle on any kind of road is not going to be dependent on the mass of the vehicle. It depends on what is the angle of banking, it depends on what is the friction between the tires and the roads. So, and of course it depends on the acceleration due to gravity, and it even depends on the radius of curvature. More is the radius, more is that velocity with which the vehicle can travel. Of course, there is also something called minimum velocity with which a vehicle can travel on a curved and banked road with friction. In this case, that minimum velocity, in this case we have considered the frictional force to act inside. In that case it has to be in the, because the vehicle tries to move inside, the frictional force will act outside. And in this equation number 3 which we have taken here in this consideration, only those plus and minus signs, they will be reversing. And then I understand that v is equal to, in that case the minimum speed will be root of rg into bracket, if you see equation number 3 here, that v is equal to, it will be root of rg into bracket sin theta minus mu cos theta upon cos theta plus mu sin theta, or in terms of tan theta it will be root of rg into bracket tan theta minus mu upon 1 plus mu tan theta, will be the minimum speed with which a vehicle can travel on a curved and banked road. That derivation of course is given in the textbook, once again with a different diagram, and but only you see the plus minus signs, they are going to change, and the direction of the force, which is the frictional force, only that will change, and its components will then add, you accuracy to give us the required result. So, well, that's about the third session of rotational dynamics in circular motion, which we have studied the maximum speed of a vehicle on unbanked curved road by considering only friction. Second thing was banked curved road in which we did not consider friction at all. The third thing is banked curved road with friction. Now, if you see if this equation number 3 is the correct equation, I must try to have its special cases seen. In this equation number 3, if you consider that there is no banking, or case number 1, only friction. So theta is equal to 0, tan theta is tan 0 is 0, and you will only get that equation number 3 as v is equal to root of mu r g. That's all. So that is what you can have. But if you say you have got only theta but mu is equal to 0, so if mu is equal to 0 in that equation number 3, numerator tan theta, that mu term will get 0, denominator will be only 1, and your equation turns out to be v is equal to root of rj tan theta, which we have obtained earlier. So these are the special cases. Of course, you can see its mathematics as here. The equations will turn out to be as what we have proved earlier, that in case 1 you had v is equal to mu root of mu rg, and in case 2 you had v is equal to root of rg tan theta. So that is about the third session or part 3 in rotational dynamics, which was covering some part of circular motion. In the next part, we are going to talk about conical pendulum. What is the time period of a conical pendulum? What is the frequency of a pendulum's rotation? And you see what is the tension acting on the string in case of conical pendulum. Of course, thereafter we are going to talk about the circular motion in vertical circles under gravity. So anyway, thanks watching for this particular video. Thanks a lot once again.